Hello everyone. My name is Fakhruddin Khambati and welcome to a new playlist, a new series called SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. If you have been following my channel so far, I have had two different playlists on the channel, SSIS classes by FK and SQL Quickies. This is going to be the third playlist that I'm creating for SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. If you have seen my SSIS training videos, you would know that SSAS is a part of a major topic called MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence. MSBI has three pillars to it: SSIS, SSAS, and SSRS. Now we have already done SSIS, so let's move towards SSAS. Now, what is SSAS? Why do we need to learn SSAS? How it is linked to SSIS? What are the components in SSAS? Let's have a look at the very basic part of why SSAS comes into picture, and then we will proceed further with the details in the SSAS, the different technological topics in SSAS. You see a white screen, right? Good. Trust me, it's going to be colorful. I don't think that if I explain you via theory, it's going to make any difference. You can get the theoretical concepts. It's the internet is full with it. So I'm going to show you the visual picture about how SSAS comes into picture, and for that I'll have to drag you back few steps behind towards the concepts like broad database on which we actually work, data warehousing, OLTP, OLAP, and so on. And I want to do this via an example. So I'm going to create a world of my database over here. As I said, it's going to be colorful. So I'll make it some color. This rectangle is my database world, is my project. Now in the project, I have a database which is my prod database. Let's say prod DB. I'll reduce the font a bit. So this is my prod DB. When my user interacts with the application or my website, he or she directly accesses data or interacts using this particular database. Now consider that this is in like a superstore, uh, like a Walmart. So this is the database of one particular store, one particular Walmart location. Now I have many, many, many stores throughout the country and even outside. So I'll have to reduce it maybe. Uh, this is one store. Like this store, I have one more just across the street. I have one more uh, in another kilometer of the area. I have few more in another part of the town, and so on. I have hundreds and hundreds of stores. I have many, many, many stores. So much that it does not even fit into my diagram. So I have a lot of stores, lot of databases, and there's no count to it. The many, many stores, and each store has a particular database, and that database interacts directly with the application. Wherever my customer comes, I do the billing, whatever the products are taken, the payment is taken, and it the data is stored in its own database of that particular store. Now for a single store, it would be okay to analyze the data from that particular database. But when I have so many different outlets and I want to analyze my data of all those outlets in one single go, do you think that it's feasible right now over here? What if I want to check which particular products, how many of my products are making me the maximum profit? How many of my products are making me some kind of a loss? How many products just expire just staying on the shelf? They are not selling at all. So I will have to look at it from a bigger perspective, from an eagle eye view, uh, like on a larger perspective when I can see that a particular region has a sales of a particular product which is more than or maybe the better example is if I have a product, if I have a particular shampoo which is selling a lot in a particular region, let's say region A, and it has a lot of stock of that particular shampoo in another region altogether, which is region B. Now, I have stock in region B where the sales of that shampoo is very, very, very less. And I have region A where the demand is a lot for that particular product, but I do not have it in my stock. So how can I, just analyze that in a bigger picture and, I can figure out. I need the answers to pop out of the screen right in front of my eyes when I'm analyzing the data. And that is why I will move the entire store's databases into one single data Data warehouse. So all these databases that you see over here, they will all link or they will all come to the data warehouse. Now, how will that particular thing come to my data warehouse? How will this particular data come to my data warehouse? For that, I hope you remember we did SSIS. So, in order to get the data into my data warehouse, I'm going to create daily ETLs. I'm going to create ETLs over here. And how will I create ETL using SSIS? So, all these things which are here, all my databases, they will populate data to my daily ETL. They will populate data to my data warehouse using daily ETL, which is being created using SSIS, right? Now imagine, even if I have all the data in my data warehouse, it is still just normal SQL server, a normal SQL database, just a bigger one, a major one. So when I'm running queries in that particular database, it is going to have data of so many stores. We are talking about billions and billions of records now. We are not talking about just few millions of records. We're not talking about few thousands of rows where you can do a calculation, where you can do your aggregate functions and you can get the results in few seconds in SQL. We're talking about a major chunk of data over here. And if I'm querying on the major chunk of data in the SQL server, it's going to take time. I do not want to wait for hours and hours just for some aggregation, some calculations that are being done in my data warehouse database, right? So I'm going to give you a quick example of how the how the processing of the calculation would come into picture when the data is very, very huge. So let us switch to our favorite Microsoft SQL server. I'll do a new query over here. I have a database called cust data warehouse. I have a table over there called select star from cust table. Now, it is a very big table. You see it, if you look at the bottom right part, it will keep on executing because it has a lot of records. Uh, so I'll stop it. It has some data over here. There are some reference keys of a country, product, salesperson, and there is a point over here called amount. Now, what I want to do is I want to get the amount of sales in this particular table based on the country. So I'll obviously do a group by for country name. So let's try to run this record and see how much time it takes. You see it's executing over here. It, there are a few seconds that it's going to take until it shows the records. It will keep on calculating, aggregating that particular data, grouping it with the country name. And this is something that I'm doing on a big table, which has millions of records. So the time that it's taking is expected. Now, this is my data warehouse. When I'm trying to portray some results or when I'm trying to analyze some data, I would like to have the results pop out in front of my eyes almost instantly. Will I wait, for so long? Okay, fine. I'm the programmer. I'm developing it. It's my product. I might just wait because I know how technically, non-feasible this is. But will my manager or will the CEO of the company will they be willing to just sit in a in a meeting room presenting the data, and will they be willing to just wait for so long? No. See, it's still processing. It's over a minute and it's still processing. Now, what if I tell you that I can do this particular exact same results within a fraction of second? Yes, it's possible. And that is where my SSAS comes into picture. The screen that you're going to see next, it is going to be new for you. Do not panic. Do not panic at all. It is SSAS. And I know you will not understand it at this moment, but just look at the results. Look at this particular window where, uh, I'm focusing right now. This window. The moment I dragged and dropped the total amount, it just gave me the sum of all the amounts from that table. And if I want to just see with via country name, I just have to drag and drop country name and look how fast it's going to be. That fast. Immediately. It did not take even a single second. Now let me try take you back to the SQL Server over here. I made a mistake before. I just ran two queries together, uh, and I will just run this one alone, and I'll do this in a different session. It's not going to take that long, but it's definitely going to take longer time than what my cube took. So you see it's processing out here on the bottom right side, and it will go on, but it displayed the result. So I'm getting exact same results. It's giving me data of sales, the amount of sales, the sum of sales amount grouped by the country name. And in my cube, I got the same results grouped by the country name, but the only difference is that in my cube, it did not take 6 seconds. It took a fraction of second. So it was many, many, many times faster because the data that I'm getting in my cube, again, when I say cube, it means it's a part of SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services, which is majorly used to create something called as cube. So the data that you can see in my SSAS cube, that is pre-calculated data. So it will not do the calculation as SQL Server. When I'm running the query in the background, it's doing its calculation. It will not do that. The SQL Server Analysis Services cube will have pre-calculated data. And the screen that you're looking at right now, that is all we are going to study in SSAS. So I hope that I am able to achieve a bit of curiosity about SSAS. You should be excited by now that the time that it took in SQL is much more than that it took in SSAS. And for analysis of data, it is very important because we don't do analysis on a few hundreds of records. We do analysis on billions and millions of records. So I hope that that particular demo or that particular comparison, brought some kind of curiosity in you. Let's proceed with, the next step in the next demo that is about to come up in this particular playlist. You need to make sure that you have SSDT installed, that is SQL Server Data Tools installed on your computer. You can get it from the Microsoft website. If you have done my SSIS playlist before, then I'm sure you already have it and you don't have to do anything. So in the next video, be prepared for our very first demo on SSAS. Until then, this is Fakhruddin Khambati saying goodbye and take care.